Welcome aboard, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here. Pulling out the stops again today. Leading cause of death in the United States, MD-directed medical therapeutics. Leading cause of bankruptcy, MD-directed medical therapeutics. Well, we've given our health over to the hands of the MDs. Infertility is on the rise. Arthritis is on the rise. 1/3 of the population is obese. Alzheimer's is now the 6th leading cause of death, and 1 out of 89 kids are born autistic. Doesn't that just make you feel warm and fuzzy inside? And, of course, instead of taking responsibility for their incompetence, instead of reassessing their world view, their Weltanschauung, the MDs blame you. Can't be their fault. Can't be the high and mighty, highly educated MD. Oh, no, 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 no. It's got to be your fault. You've got the bad gene. It's your fault. You have the bad gene. You have the fat gene. You have the arthritis gene. You have the type 2 diabetes gene. You have the infertility gene. You have the everything all the time gene. And apparently everybody also has the poverty gene. The MD, however, will fail to be able to tell you specifically which gene it is that's coding for your obesity, will not be able to tell you specifically which gene it is that's coding for your type 2 diabetes. And, in fact, if they ever do, in fact, find a gene which is related to the genesis of a chronic illness, like the BRCA gene in its relationship to breast cancer, they won't tell you that it's a mutation of a gene. They'll tell you that it's a gene, and they're wrong. It's not a gene. It's a mutation of a gene. There's a big difference between a healthy 2x4 and a rotten 2x4. What are you going to build your house out of, rotten 2x4s or healthy 2x4s? And, oh, by the way, how does a healthy 2x4 become rotten? Does it just spontaneously happen? Do the atoms and the molecules just spontaneously reorganize themselves for no reason whatsoever and now the wood's rotten? No! There's a process that leads to making the wood rotten. There's a process that leads to the mutation of the gene, but the MDs don't give a crap about it because it's not in their wheelhouse. It's not their thing. We all need to collectively wake up, take a deep breath, and understand what's going on here. Just call a spade a spade. Again, your medical doctor may be the nicest person God ever created, but they don't know what's best for you. They only know what they've been trained in. We just need to understand this, and nobody does. Everybody has bought the party line, hook, line, and sinker, that the MD is the undisputed emperor of the domain of medicine, and everybody else is a back-of-the-bus quack, right? That's what we believe. That's the cultural meme. That's what everybody thinks. I had an argument a couple months ago at a wedding with a gentleman who said, well, it really ticks me off when people other than MDs call themselves doctor. I said, what? You know who I am, right? And he said, no. I told him what my profession was, and he said, I just don't buy it. I just don't buy it. I don't buy it. Well, what is it that you don't buy? You don't buy the fact that the United States Department of Education, the same accreditation body that allows MDs to matriculate from medical schools. By the way, you need to think this one through. If you grew up in Massachusetts, you went to high school in Massachusetts, and then you decided to go to college, or medical school, let's say, in California, what is it that allows the California school to accept the credits from the Massachusetts school? What is it? Because California doesn't know. Maybe the school you went to in Massachusetts was out of the back of a pickup truck. Maybe you had a goat teaching you higher mathematics. They don't know. This is why the Department of Education is there, and this is why the Department of Education has an accreditation process, right? So there are standards that every academic institution in the United States has to rise up to. There are tests that they need to pass in order to be accredited. Now, once a school is accredited, its credits are good anywhere. So this is what enables people who went to high school in Massachusetts to go to college anywhere in the United States they want. Of course, they have to get accepted. They have to get into the college. But they can apply, and if their grades are good enough, they can go anywhere in the United States. And it's the same reason that allows people who graduated from Harvard Medical School to practice medicine in Arizona or California or San Francisco or wherever they want, because of the accreditation process that levels the playing field for all academic institutions. So we know that the education delivered by a medical school in Massachusetts is equivalent to, or at least meets the same bar, as a medical school in Louisiana, as a medical school in Arizona, as a medical school anywhere that's been accredited. So the guy that told me, I just don't buy it, didn't think it through. And it's prejudice that drives notions like this. I graduated from, I went to a fully accredited university, two universities, one a regular university and the other a medical university. The University of Massachusetts in Amherst is a fully accredited academic institution. I got a BS, a Bachelor of Science in Pre-Med. The University of Massachusetts, that degree is referred to as zoology, a Bachelor of Science in Zoology. It's their pre-med program. And because they were an accredited academic institution, it allowed me to apply to go to medical school anywhere in the United States, anywhere I want. Probably anywhere in Europe, but I don't know how that works when we cross borders. I chose to go to a fully accredited naturopathic medical school, not an allopathic MD medical school, and the medical school that I went to was fully accredited, which means that it passed the same standards that Harvard Medical School passed. Same standards, passed them, met them and passed them, and got the stamp of approval by the United States Department of Education. So I graduated from a fully accredited pre-med degree-granting academic institution, and then I received a doctoral degree from a fully accredited naturopathic medical school, Seattle, Washington, Bastyr University to be specific. And then passed national boards and state boards, and then secured a license to practice medicine. By the way, 17 states licensed naturopathic medicine. So the fellow that just didn't buy it must mean that he thinks that somehow we hoodwinked the United States Department of Education and the legislatures of 17 states into believing that we really are doctors when we're not. Right? Yeah, well, he has his head up as you know what. But lots of people do in this country because they're just not educated about the facts. They just don't know. And popular opinion has become the rule of law, right? It's reality by consensus. Everybody believes something to be so just because everybody believes something to be so. Oh, those blacks, they're bad people. They're not really people. They're just animals like, monkeys. And that's how we justified slavery for years. Oh, those American Indians. Oh, no. They're heathens. They're not really people. They're animals. So just kill them. Kill them. Kill them. Take their land. Kill them. No harm, no foul. Everybody sleeps at night. Well, except the Native Americans. Oh, no. The earth is flat. Oh, no. Women aren't smart enough to vote. Oh, no. We can't have a thriving economy unless we have childhood labor. Oh, no. No unions. Whatever. It's nonsense what people have accepted as reality just because they think it to be real. Well, it's no different in the wonderful world of medicine. And the cultural myth that is killing people literally and bankrupting people every minute of every day is the false notion, the myth, the cultural meme, the false cultural reality by consensus belief that the MD is the undisputed owner of medicine and everybody else is a back-of-the-bus quack. It's nonsense. MDs are only trained in a small subset of medicine. It's a tiny piece of the pie of medicine. But they have co-opted their tiny piece of the pie into a monopoly of the entire medical theater, and they did it with pharmaceutical money. I talked about this yesterday, a really good book on this subject. It's out of print. You might be able to find an old copy on Amazon, Rockefeller Medicine Man, by E. Richard Brown. I made a reference to that in my book. If you really want to kind of take a bite out of this concept and chew it, go sit on a fence post and chew it. Get a copy of my book, The MD Emperor Has No Clothes. Go to my website, drglidden.com, download it. You can have it on your computer by the time the first commercial pops up on this show. Knowledge is power, folks. We don't have any understanding of what's going on here. And people think that, doctors are involved in the scientific method, so how can what they be different than what the naturopaths or the chiropractors or the homeopaths are about? It's because they're not involved with science. They're involved with reductionism. And reductionism, again, is one small piece of the pie of medical science. In quantum physics, the stuff that informs the atom bomb, the stuff that informs string theory and the subatomic world is a completely different set of scientific rules. Completely different than reductionism. And the rules that apply to the human body are holistic. They are not reductionistic. So when you attempt to understand what's happening inside the human body, to understand the nature of health, the nature of disease, when you look at the body through a reductionistic lens, you will be mistaken. Your data will be corrupted. There's an a priori built-in bias that you're completely unaware of. And this is why the MDs are the most dangerous people in the world, unless, of course, you need surgery. Because surgery, right, is the epitome of reductionism. It is a part of the body that is broken. Well, we need to open this up, and we need to go in, and we need to not touch this nerve, and we not need to slice this artery, and we need to practice a sterile technique, and this is the implement that we need to remove the shard of shrapnel, and then this is the surgical suture that we need to sew the wound up, and this is the material that we're going to use to do it. That's reductionism. But for the conditions that most people go to the doctor for, most of the time, reductionism is a dead end, and that's why we're getting sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker. It's not the drug, it's how it's used. It's the philosophy that the MDs bring to bear. It's old-fashioned, outdated, archaic, and dangerous. For goodness sake, fire your MD now. By the way, we are live streaming. If you like the way this sounds, check out the way it looks, and also enter into a chat room. We have 63 people now, I think, in the chat room. 63 people in the chat room. There was a question from the chat room during the break about trigeminal neuralgia, very, very painful. Trigeminal neuralgia, we believe, is caused by the same mechanism that causes vertigo, that causes ringing in the ears, that causes lazy eyes, that causes Bell's palsy, that causes chronic laryngitis. It's osteoporosis of the skull, basically. So you can use the CM cream liberally around the jaw and behind the ear, topically and even inside the ear with a Q-tip on the side of the face that's affected by the trigeminal neuralgia to effectively attempt to knock down the inflammation while we are supporting and promoting the structure and function of the skull, which we believe has been compromised by lack of nutrition. So the recommendation to support and promote the structure and function of the body during a diagnosis of trigeminal neuralgia would be 1 healthy bone and joint pack and 2 selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month. 1 healthy bone and joint pack and 2 selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month, and that's how we do it. This is an important concept for people to understand, and so I'm gonna talk about it for the next 4 minutes, and then in the top of the next section, we're going to go to Sue in Kansas City. So, people don't understand, by and large, that the MDs are not trained in a scientific method. Well, they're trained in a scientific method, but the scientific method that they're trained in is just one piece of the pie of scientific methods. It's called reductionism. Reductionism argues that if you can't measure it, it doesn't exist. And since nobody has ever dissected the soul out of the human body or seen it with an MRI, a CT, or an ultrasound, the soul doesn't exist. And if the soul doesn't exist, well, it doesn't exist, and it can therefore have nothing to do with how the body works. Now, reductionism argues the body is a machine made of parts, just like your automobile, and that it's the doctor's job to do diagnostic discovery to figure out a piece of the body that's malfunctioning, and then to deliver a medicine which attempts to manage that one piece. And the medicines never attempt to fix or cure anything. The medicines, with the exception of infectious diseases. But the medicine attempts simply to suppress the symptoms and manage the disease process because the MD believes that the human body is an evolutionary accident. You are a skin and bones bag of biochemicals waiting to break. It's only a matter of time until something does break, and then when something does break, the body does not have the ability to fix it. So it's the doctor's job to manage the symptoms with drugs until things get so bad that you need surgery. That's their philosophy from start to finish. Because they're reductionistic. And this is also why when you go to a reductionistically trained MD, you get one medicine for your heartburn, one medicine for your high blood pressure, one medicine for your insomnia, one medicine for your asthma, one medicine for your fibromyalgia, one medicine for your thyroid, one medicine for your arthritis in your hips, one medicine for your gout, one medicine for the kidney stones, and one medicine for the fungal infection on your skin, right? Isn't that how it goes? You get a medicine to pee, a medicine not to pee, a medicine to fall asleep, a medicine to wake up, so forth and so on. It's insanity, but because it's the way that things are, nobody questions it, and everybody just goes along for the ride. I was at the golf course over the weekend, and I love golf, by the way. And I overheard a conversation with a guy, on the next hole, saying he'd just been diagnosed. He probably looked like he was in his 60s, just diagnosed with diabetes, and now he's got to take one more drug. He said to his buddy, "I feel like a walking pharmaceutical factory." And, I feel for him. Because that's the norm now. It's the new norm. Everybody's taken umpteen gazillion prescription medications. Not because doctors have stock in pharmaceutical companies. I mean, maybe they do. I don't know. But you're prescribed so many drugs because that's a reductionistic model. Because your body is a machine made of parts. And it's the doctor's job to manage each part. Holism, on the other hand, argues everything is connected. So we don't give one medicine for each thing. We give a comprehensive, holistic package for everything. And that's a much better way to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, wake up. Smell the roses and walk with me into a bright future in the undiscovered country of science-based, clinically verified medical nutritionists. God is my witness, you do not know what you're missing. Stick around. Kansas City and Sue are up next. Welcome back, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health, pulling back the curtain on everything you didn't even know you didn't know about medicine. And again, it's the stuff that is so far outside of your reference range, so far outside of your wheelhouse. It is in the domain of the stuff that you didn't know that. And when you get a clue about the stuff that's there, the stuff that you didn't know, that's when you have an aha moment. That's when you have a eureka moment. And hopefully I just gave you one with the understanding of reductionism, and that's why people are on so many meds, because the MD sees your body as a machine made of parts, and it's their job to manage each part with a different drug. Which is good if you're an android, not so good if you are a human being. Let's go to Kansas City, see what Sue's up to. Hey, Sue. Thanks for the phone call. You are live. Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, but I'll get better. What's happening?
Well, I have been doing longevity since last October, and about 3 months ago, I started doing 15 glucogel a day, 6 selenium a day, the enzymes before I eat. Anyway, I have a Baker's cyst behind my left knee that is not getting any better. And I think it's causing... Okay, go ahead.
And you think it's causing what?
Other swelling. I think my left leg is just a little bit bigger than my right leg, and I'm right-handed, which shouldn't be. And it's not painful now, but it's noticeable, and I'm pretty active. Yeah,
so the Baker's cyst used to be painful, and now it's no longer painful?
Well, you know what? Right when I got it, when I realized I had it, I couldn't even, and I sleep soundly at night, and I could not sleep for like 3 or 4 nights in a row. And I called Dr. Wallach's one that told me to go 15 glucogel a day. That was like back in October, November. And I've gone off all the 10 bad foods. I lost 30 pounds in 3 months.
That's remarkable, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I wasn't even trying. I have no cravings whatsoever.
Great.
It's marvelous. But I don't know if I'm getting enough protein because I'm not hungry. I mean, I'll tell you what I eat. I eat 2 poached eggs in the morning with lots of butter and ground up flaxseed and ground up almonds on it. And then I eat yogurt, but I put my calcium, powdered calcium, and my peach fusion on there, and sometimes some vegetarian protein. And I'm not against meat, but the last time I ate red meat, I had such a hurting in my gut. It was painful.
Are you blood type A?
I'm blood type AB negative.
Yeah. All right. When do you get salt in your body?
In the mornings before I do my breakfast, I take an enzyme, and I take, what else do I take before I eat? There's 5 things I take. Anyway, I put a bunch of salt in that glass of water and vitamin stuff, and then I salt my eggs really well. Anytime I think of salt, I'll put it in water instead of just drinking water. I'll salt my water because I'm telling you, I don't eat that much, and I'm not anorexic. I'm not hungry.
Well,
I make myself eat.
Well, I'm glad that you called because I have some good news for you.
What?
Well, they've done just recently, like in the last 5 years, more progressive researchers around the world are doing research with animals about longevity, right? And looking to see what you can do, if anything, to increase the lifespan of, an earthworm or a spider monkey or whatever, right? Because you can't do experiments like this on humans, at least not in the United States. And what they're finding is any animal of any genus or species, including mammals, including primates, including birds and earthworms and little algae, when they are on a calorie-restricted diet, they live much longer.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So one of the keys to having a long, and not only just a long life, because who the hell wants to be, 105 years old in a wheelchair for 20 years, right? Right. It's not only being able to live longer, maximizing your genetic potential, which in a human being, by the way, is 120 years, but it's also the quality of life increases dramatically, as does your lifespan when you're on a limited calorie diet. One of the secrets to having a long life is eating very few calories. So, now remember, you got to think this through, right? The body is it's an open system. It's not a closed system. And like an automobile, the body needs certain things in order to keep it running, right? You got to put oil in the car and transmission fluid and gas in the tank and air in the tires, right? So the human body needs 90 essential nutrients. Now, once you've done that, and you've stopped eating food that's causing inflammation and it's coming up the works, the only thing that you need food for is calories to burn for energy, a little bit of fat, but really not that much because there's fat in the EFAs that you're getting, a little bit of fat for your central nervous system, and protein that your body can use to repair itself, but really you're getting protein already in the 90 essential nutrients because proteins are broken down into amino acids, and you get the full complement of amino acids with the 90 essential nutrients. So having a reduced appetite when you are taking the full complement of medical nutrition into your body is not an indication that anything's wrong. It's an indication that you are in step with your body's groove for long life. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
What's causing gas?
There's a lot of things. Well, there's a lot of things that can cause gas, but the most common thing that causes gas is a blockage somewhere in the large intestine. So, there's crap in there that hasn't been eliminated, and it's gumming up the works, and that's the main cause of gas. So if I were you...
Colonic irrigation?
Yep, colonic irrigation. You betcha.
I've got a colonic board.
You betcha. Well, is it the Colema board?
Yes.
Yeah, man, I had a Colema board back in the 80s.
Yep.
And I love that thing. You got to be careful with the Colema board. You got to be careful with it. And if it's in the budget and it's convenient, you know, there's a certified colon hydrotherapist in your town. I don't know where you live. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. That's also an option. It's actually better for you than the Colema board. And here's how that hierarchy goes. It's a colonic, the Colema board, and then just an old-fashioned retention enema, right? You know, in level of effectiveness, actual getting work done. So, but also there's something else that I want you to consider here, all right? Okay. And this is a very interesting thing to talk about. Sometimes with tumors, what we find in the holistic world when we're treating patients with a particular type of tumor is the tumor will not go away. The tumor will remain present, but the body will seal the tumor off from the rest of the body, and, you know, you'll live the rest of your life with the tumor. It doesn't grow, it doesn't shrink, it doesn't metastasize, it doesn't go anywhere. You've still got this little tumor in the body, but it doesn't become a runaway freight train like it does with other types of illness. And it's possible that that's what's happening with the Baker's cyst, that the body doesn't have the ability to get rid of it, but what the body is doing is walling it off from the rest of the body. The process that caused it to grow is no longer at play, and so the Baker's cyst is really just going to become like you know, an archaeological remnant in your body. And the main thing to consider here is the absence of strong and persistent symptoms, because remember, strong and persistent noticeable symptoms, things that you feel like pain, irritation, itching, right, restless legs, whatever, symptoms are an indication that there's something wrong with the body. Absence of symptoms is an indication that something is right with the body. And so if historically the Baker's cyst was symptomatic, but now it is no longer symptomatic, then it's entirely possible that the body has handled it, and, you know, you're just going to have to live with the Baker's cyst. Now, there are, you know, if it's...
My whole knee is swollen, and I'll tell you what I do. I wrap it with an ace bandage every day and put CM cream on the back and on the sides of my knee. And then at night, I put one of those ice packs on it and wrap a knee brace, pretty sturdy knee brace around, and just go to bed, you know. Get up in the morning.
Okay, so now remember, there are a number of ways up the mountain of holistic medicine. A number of ways up the mountain of holistic medicine, with the top of the mountain being, you know, optimal health. Medical nutrition is like a highway up, but sometimes medical nutrition only takes you so far. And it's entirely possible that moving forward, especially since you've done the glucogel for an extended period of time and haven't seen any resolution, that you're going to need to move outside of medical nutrition to get on the other side of this particular Baker's cyst problem. Now, if it were me, the next place that I would go to would be acupuncture. I would find a licensed, certified acupuncturist and be assessed by them, have them tell you what they think is going on here and whether or not they think they can help you to get on the other side of it. And I'd get on board with their therapeutics for, you know, however long a period of time they recommend. But so I think that you may be at a point now where you need to bring in, you know, the artillery or the Navy SEALs, to use a patently male metaphor. You just need a different therapeutic approach now to get you around this, because I don't think medical nutrition is going to be able to take this all the way. But and having said that, without medical nutrition, all of the other therapeutics would fail, because your body needs the 90 essential nutrients in order to function optimally. And if you try to alter somebody's vital force with the needles, with an acupuncture, but the body isn't mineralized, you're going to have piss poor results. If you give somebody a homeopathic remedy and their body is under-mineralized, you're going to get piss poor results. If you go to a chiropractor and you need adjustments and you bring to them a body that's under-mineralized, they're going to adjust you, but then 10 minutes after you leave the office, it's going to fail. It's going to go back to where it was before, because it doesn't have any structural integrity. So it's not like the stuff that you've done with medical nutrition has been wasted. It's the stuff that you've done with medical nutrition has laid a really good foundation for now another holistic modality to come in like the cavalry and save the day. And the first place I would go to is acupuncture. Have you tried that for this?
No, I haven't.
So that's what I would do. Now, there are a handful of acupuncturists that I know who are really good. And, because none of them live in Kansas City, my recommendation to you is when you are shopping for an acupuncturist, find someone from China who has difficulty speaking English, right?
Why?
I'm being a little flip here. If I had to choose between someone who was trained in acupuncture in China and who grew up as a China man or a woman immersed in that culture and was trained as an acupuncturist and had experience with acupuncture in mainland China and then came to the U.S., or a United States citizen who learned acupuncture at a college of acupuncture here in the U.S., if I had to choose between those two people, I'd go to the person from China every single time, because that's their wheelhouse. And, like I said, I know 3 Occidental acupuncturists who are awesome, but none of them live in Kansas City. So my advice to you is find an acupuncturist, a Chinese acupuncturist, and get assessed. And call me back after you do with a report. I sure would look forward to that. I appreciate you, Sue. Stick around, folks. Much, much, much more to come. Yeah, I know. You don't want to work. Who wants to work? Nobody wants to work. I mean, unless, like the saying goes, you really love what you do, then it's really not like work. And if you become a longevity member, and it's your cup of tea, then you're going to love your work. And it's not going to be like work. And you're going to make way more money than you would at a job. I mean, unless you're the CEO of, Procter & Gamble or Toyota or IBM or, your Steve Jobs illegitimate child. But if you're just a normal Joe or Jane, you've probably hit the glass ceiling with your employment and your paycheck. So there is another way that you can use something else that you can do if you feel so inclined to increase your net worth and to maybe even generate a legacy, right? And here's what you tell people. I'm working at my job full-time, and I'm working on my fortune part-time. Would you like to hear my story? I'm working on my job full-time and my fortune part-time. Would you like to hear my story? That's a really good enrollment conversation. Learned that from Jim Rohn, the late, great Jim Rohn, one of network marketing's greatest strategists. Working part-time on my fortune. Would you like to hear my story? Now, who's going to say no to that? Right? And this is actually what we're doing when we're involved with a longevity business. We're working on a fortune. And I don't know if people have really thought this through, especially members of the African American community here, because the African Americans have been screwed so much for the last, for the million years, that it's hard for African Americans to develop legacies that they can leave for their ancestors, right? I mean, it's hard for them to do that. It's only the white people that are able to do that, because the white people have been ahead of the curve for 100 years and building their fortunes on the back of the black workers, right? It's nuts. So think this through. If you, knuckle down and build a law practice, or a real estate practice, or whatever. You work for a Fortune 500 company and you work your way up through the ranks, right? And, you're making a really good paycheck every month, and then you die. What happens to your paycheck? Can you will your paycheck to your wife or your kids? And can they keep getting paid after you're gone by your employer? No, they can't. The money stops when you stop, right? Well, if you become a network marketer, if you join Longevity, if you become a Longevity associate, if you become a Longevity business builder, and you work your Longevity business into however much you want to work it to, $500 a month, $1,000 a month, $5,000 a month, $100,000 a month, $300,000 a month, whatever it is that you feel comfortable with, when you die, you can will your Longevity business to whomever you want, and the checks keep coming. And that's how you can build a legacy of fortune for your family, your ancestors, your heirs. It's an untalked about benefit to network marketing, and I was under the cultural myth for 19 years that network marketing was crap, that network marketing was evil, that network marketing was like, network marketing, what the heck is that? I don't want that. I had no idea what it was. But I was going along with the cultural consciousness that, that's not a good thing to do for 19 years. And then my head popped out of my you-know-what, and I saw the light. And I've got to tell you, knowing what I know now about network marketing and seeing how far I and my organization have come just in the last 2 years, I can't imagine where I would be had I started this 19 years ago. Well, quite frankly, I can imagine where I would be, and it ticks me off to no end. But like the fella said, if wishes were fishes, we'd all cast nets. If wishes were horses, beggars would ride. Check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Longevity is here, not only for your health, but for your wealth. Hour 2 coming up shortly. Susie from Florida is up next. See you then.